Hi everyone, Brian from Bear Bull Traders here. It is the end of May, May 31st. Kicking off a new month here, June 1st, Monday. Looks like futures are down a little bit right now, but you know what happens. Usually the buying brigade comes in at some point and pushes the market higher like we did on Friday here. You can see here a bit of a cup formation, but this is, I believe, when President Trump started to speak about actions against China, a bit of a dip, and then when the market realized there wasn't going to be anything really significant or new, then the market just ripped higher, and you can see Nasdaq led the way, the Qs, S&P 500, and Dow just finished just a tiny bit off on the day here. You can see here on the technology was the big winner, but over the week, more of the safety trades, utilities, real estate, industrials, some of the financials kind of picked it up a little bit. Technology and some of the other energy were down in the bottom on the week. So let's take a look at the indexes before we get into stocks we're going to be watching next week. Transports down on a bit down on the day. You can see we had a bit of a pullback here Thursday, and then bounced back, finished down on the day, but up off the low. Declining volume. Stokes showing pretty over. A little bit getting up close to being overbought, so maybe a bit of a pullback here, but you can see the trend. Trend still looks a little bit like it's going higher. See the weekly, again, the weekly, I argue it still looks strong here. Weekly volume was a little bit better, and you can kind of see here we bumped up against this 20 moving average, pulled back, but again, RSI still going higher. MACD going higher, so it seems like the trend is still higher. The yields on the 10-year, I always like to look at those, see where they're doing, but they just seem to be just chopping, going nowhere. Stochastics still sort of putting in a bottom here. RSI just slightly on the oversold side, but again, we just seem to be, the bond guys and the Fed are fighting over which direction this is going to go. Fed will probably win, but we'll see. Again, the VIX on the weekly, indecision candle on the weekly, we seem to be holding above this 25 level right now. Right at we're right here at these prior highs, right here, right here, right here. So we are finding some support here. But if we do start to break down 25, yeah, then we're going down to 20 on the VIX, which would indicate that the market is going to continue higher. Again, daily on the VIX just kind of looks like trend is your friend, and looks like we're maybe getting ready to break down here. 200-day moving average right there. And let's take a look at the specific indexes. So let's start with the small caps. You can see here on the day we were down, but up overall on the day. Bit of a reversal candle here. Rejection from the 200-day moving average. Pretty much rejected that on the IWM. And we're right at 50 on the RSI. I don't know, we could be taking a pause here. We did fill this gap. We did get to the 200-day, and now we're doing a pullback, which is kind of a logical thing. So I would expect a bit more of a pullback here. If we hold 135, we will probably consolidate and then head higher. But I think that 135 level looks kind of important on the IWM. On the weekly Qs, again up on the day. Let's take a look at the weekly. Weekly, we are right back up near highs before we sold off in February. And interesting candle here, sold off, came right back up. So it looks like the Qs still want to go higher. MACD crossing over, still heading higher. Stochastics getting a little bit on the upside here, overbought, but weakness just end up churning along here. But the Qs still look like the place to be. Spider, S&Ps, again breaking out, new new high on the week. The only thing you can say is the volume's kind of tailing off here, but RSI continues to go higher. MACD is crossed, going higher. Still looks like this wants to trend higher, so I'd still be looking to, during the day, get some sell-offs, buy them, because looks like it's just market wants to continue to trend higher. The Dow, we already talked about the Dow. No, we didn't. The Dow, let's take a look at the weekly quickly. Again, up on the week, volume declining a little bit. Same sort of comments as the SPY. So let's take a look at some scans. Let's take a look at some stuff we want to maybe watch this week. Kind of thought it was interesting. CGC, kind of interested Canopy. They reported Friday. You can see it was a big disappointment and sold off pretty hard here. But I think we're down into an area where we might find some support. I'm going to give it another day or so. Usually use the 3-day rule, let things wash out a bit, but it looks like this 20 moving average might be something we might hold. Obviously big volume day on Friday with the earnings report out, and again we didn't go out on the low of the day. We did try to pop up a bit at one point and sold off again, but I'd be looking for an entry around this 200 or this 20 moving average, something around 1650. And then, you can see here there was a lot of resistance and support around this 16 level. So it could use that as a stop. Costco on the weekly looks really nice. We've got a bit of a pendant forming here, Everything's trending higher. This does look like it wants to go higher. 320 would be an area where there would be definitely some resistance. We're at 308 now. So you could play this with options. Actually, you could do a call spread, which you'd buy a 315 or a 320, 315, and then sell a 325. I guess it's going to depend on how the things price out, but to reduce the cost of your call. So it might be an interesting options play there because it is a fairly expensive stock. Cure, this is the healthcare Drexion ETF. It looks like it's ready to break out here. It's right at this point where we've had 1, 2, 3, 4 tries at breaking out here. It looks like we might actually be making a breakout through this 200-day moving average. Next level here could be somewhere around 66 and a half. Kind of like this one, especially if we get a bit of a pullback on Monday. Might be good for an entry, and then use that 55, or maybe even the low of this candle here. 56 is your stop. GNMK, kind of interesting in this one. It seems like it wants to hold this sort of $9 level here. Just keep an eye on that one. I'm not sure. Stochastics are starting to turn up a little bit. Yeah, so I'm gonna maybe keep an eye on this Genmark Diagnostics. MLND, this was another nice one that came up on a scan. You can see here they had some disappointing news on a drug trial, but they still got a lot of other stuff in the pipeline. It broke out from 2 on Friday. So I'll be watching for a bit of a pullback here, but you can see the 20 days starting to move up. We stopped right at the 50-day. So would have liked to have kept this down here. This is more of an interesting pattern here, but kind of chasing it up here, unfortunately. Snap, here's another one that's kind of interesting. It just broke out on Friday. You can see here we've had 1, 2, 3 tests of this sort of 18 area, 18 plus. Friday we did a bit of a pullback and then broke out, and you can see here we're pretty close. High of is 1975, so that's your that's probably an area where we're going to see some resistance, and but it continues to look strong, and you can see volume here building on this. Stochastics double bottom, curling up. RSI strengthening. Snap looks pretty good here. Get it on a pullback. UNFI, again, looks like it's holding here. I've looked at this one before. Sort of this 18 level looks like it's going to hold. My volume is coming in a little bit on it. Coming into it, you can see volume's been building over the days, and yeah, it looks like another good candidate for a long. So I'm concentrating on long trades for the coming week. There's quite a few to pick from, but that's just a few I'm looking at. So that's it. We've got some earnings coming up this week. I think we got Zoom. That'll be super interesting. I mean, the valuation on that is through the roof, but you know, it's pricing is always a forward-looking event. So we'll see what's coming up here in the week. Quickly. Yeah, so there we go. We got Zoom, we got Slack, Work. That's another one that's done well. DocuSign, another one. This will be on, I guess this will be on Tuesday, Thursday. CrowdStrike Holdings, again, another one. That'll be Tuesday. Broadcom, there's another interesting one. The infamous Campbell Soup. So yeah, we've got some interesting stuff going on. No, I forgot to go over the ones that I'm just holding, so let's just take a quick boo at that. Yeah, I got into this one on Friday. Like the way it's holding this level. You can kind of see we had a nice run up, pull back, and then maybe a bit of a double bottom here. So hopefully we'll get some continuation higher. Like to get back up to into this level, take some profits. GDX, I got involved in that. Still holding a little bit there. And PAS, I've got some of that, and I did sell some on Friday, and yeah, so it's really looking quite a bit of quite a lot of volume on Friday too, which is kind of interesting. But a big breakout on this. You can see here there was prior high here. We kind of did a typical pattern where we break out, we check back to this this level. Actually dropped a little bit more. But we went out the day pretty close to this level. So you can see here, typical pattern, breakout, pull back to the level where we broke out from, and then we continue higher. So that looks like it could continue. Still got a decent sized position on that one. Let's take a look at the weekly quickly. See, we're really breaking out on the weekly silver trade, and monthly, even when you go back quite a few years here. Still, we're still breaking some new highs. So, all right, so guys, that's it. Hope everyone's had a great weekend. It's another weekend in the books and another May in the books, 2020. Here's my book, How to Swing Trade, on Amazon, if you haven't checked it out yet. And yeah, so we'll be doing the usual live YouTube pre-market show, 8:30 Eastern time starts. Norm or not Norm, and Carlos will be there. We're not sure if Norm's not there. I'm not sure who the not Norm is, but we have a good thick bench of traders that can fill in, and Norm's not available. He's been in the middle of a move, but anyway, that's it. Hope you see you there in the morning, and then of course we'll be trading the market open when things open at 9:30. So enjoy the rest of the weekend, everybody, and we'll hopefully see you tomorrow morning. Bye for now.